You got Jenny pregnant.
That was the first thing my dad screamed at me when he slammed the front door shut behind him, right before he threw my gym bag at my face.
Yeah, that was the moment I knew my life had officially gone to shit. Let me back up for a sec. This whole thing didn't just start with that door slam. It started about a year ago. Maybe a little more, around when I had just started this new IT job after being unemployed for a couple months. Life was finally starting to feel normal again. Bills were getting paid. I was saving up for my own place. I was feeling decent until the universe said, bet. So here's some context. I've known Dave, my best friend, since 4th grade. The dude's basically family. We played baseball together, had sleepovers every weekend back in the day, went to the same high school. His little sister, Jenny, she was always different. Not in a cute, quirky way. I mean, like, genuinely not well. She had a rough time growing up. Struggled a lot mentally. It wasn't something we ever talked about directly, but everyone kind of knew. Dave didn't like talking about it, and I never pushed. We weren't close or anything. I was always polite to her, sure. But hug her, hook up, be alone with her. Nah, never happened. Fast forward to last spring. I get this random-ass DM from Jenny on Instagram. We need to talk. It's serious. I'm like, okay, I thought something happened to Dave, or maybe she was going through something heavy. So I text her, tell her I'm free to chat. She hits me with, I'm pregnant, and it's yours. I read that like 10 times before I even blinked. What the actual hell? I swear to God I started laughing at first. Like surely she's mixing me up with someone. She has to be. Except she's dead serious. Tells me we had a moment that I was probably too drunk to remember. Which is insane because 1, I don't drink. And 2, I haven't even seen Jenny alone. Ever. We were at a couple BBQs together fully clothed in daylight around other people. That's it. So I tell her straight up, that's not possible. We never hooked up. Not once. And she just doubles down. Starts guilt-tripping me out of nowhere. Says I'm trying to abandon her. That I'm running from my responsibilities. That the baby deserves better. I'm sitting there on my couch stunned thinking, is this a prank? Is she having some kind of breakdown? I try to be calm about it. I suggest a prenatal paternity test. She flips, says I'm disrespecting her. Says I don't trust women. Says I'm trying to stress her into a miscarriage. Like, what? That's when it stopped feeling weird and started feeling dangerous. Then, about 3 weeks later, I'm at my parents' house for Sunday dinner. You know, doing the good son thing. My mom makes lasagna, my dad is mowing the lawn, everything's chill. Until mom pulls out her phone and shows me a sonogram. I'm so glad you're taking responsibility, she says, smiling, but also low-key judging me already. I stare at her. What is this? She goes, Jenny sent it to me. She said you didn't want to talk about it yet, but she wanted us to know. That's when the cold sweat hit. I tell her it's not mine. We've never, and she cuts me off. Full mom mode. You think this is a joke. You think we raised you to run from your mistakes. 10 minutes later, my dad's in my face. He's yelling. My mom's crying. I'm trying to explain that this is a lie, a full-on fabrication. They don't care, not even a little. And then he says it. You're dead to us if you walk away from that child. Cool, copy that. You ever tried to convince people of something that feels so obvious, but they've already made up their mind? That's what the next few months felt like. Screaming into a void. Jenny refuses the paternity test. Flat out refuses. Says it's bad for the baby's energy. Says I know the truth in my heart. I keep telling my parents to think logically. If I'm the dad, let's prove it. If not, leave me alone. But they're stuck on this moral high horse. A real man steps up. Even if it might be yours, you should be there. Bro, I wasn't even in the state when she would have gotten pregnant. I showed them my hotel receipts, flight logs. I was visiting my cousin in Arizona. They didn't care. My mom goes, people make mistakes. Yeah, they do. Like believing a random claim over your own son. Things spiraled fast. My folks stopped inviting me to family dinners. Stopped replying to my texts. My dad told the whole church that I was refusing to be a father. People started side-eyeing me in the grocery store. I was basically a pariah in my own damn town, and it messed me up. Not gonna lie, I wasn't just angry, I was hurt. These are people who've known me my whole life, who supposedly raised me right. And the first second someone points a finger, they just drop me. A few of my friends stayed by me, but even some of them started saying shit like, maybe you blacked out, or you sure nothing happened that night? Like, what the hell, guys? I'm not some party animal. I work, I sleep, I mind my business. 6 months go by. Jenny has the baby. Still no test. Still telling everyone I'm the dad. My mom proud grandma, pushing a stroller, posting pics on Facebook. My name's tagged like I had anything to do with it. So I finally snap. I lawyer up. Got a court order. Forced the paternity test. 0% match. Not the father. Never was. Never could have been. When I got that paper, I cried. Not because I was surprised, but because I finally had proof. Proof that I wasn't crazy. That I wasn't a liar. That I wasn't what they said I was. I sent the results to my parents thinking, now they'll come crawling back. Now they'll apologize. They did. But it was already way too late. You'd think once the paternity test came in and proved I wasn't the dad, everything would go back to normal, right? Yeah, no, that's not how this universe works. The day I sent the results to my parents, I expected at least a call, a we're sorry, something. What I got instead, a text from my mom that said, we're processing this. Please don't share the results publicly until we talk. Excuse me, until we talk. What's there to process? It's literally science. It's a damn PDF file with 0.00% biological relation in bold font at the top. That same evening, my dad called and left a voicemail. His voice was all soft like he just realized Santa wasn't real or something. Son, I think we got caught up. Let's talk this out. Maybe dinner Friday I'll grill. Your mom misses you. Oh, now she misses me. Missed me while she was posting pics with a baby that wasn't mine. Missed me while calling me a disgrace. I didn't respond. Next day, I get a Venmo from my dad. $500. Caption for all the stress. Hope this helps. Like, this is a damn inconvenience fee or something. Screw that. I kept the money, though. Damn right I did. Call it a betrayal tax. But here's where it goes from awkward to full-blown psycho. Jenny. She completely lost it. Started posting vague shit online. Stuff like, just because the test says something doesn't mean you're not a father in your soul. Science can't erase energy bonds. He knows the truth, and he's running from it. People were eating it up. Comment sections full of "you're so strong, mama," and deadbeat dads will always regret it. Even a couple of my old classmates messaged me like, dude, what's going on? I posted the paternity results. Clean, clear, straightforward. Didn't bash her, didn't gloat, just facts. Within an hour, I get a DM from her saying, you think this clears your name? It just proves how far you'll go to hurt me and my child. Okay, we're done with logic then. Got it. But she didn't stop at words. She started calling my friends, telling them I manipulated her, that I was gaslighting her and her truth, that the test was fake. Fake! Like I forged lab paperwork and paid off a clinic or something. I'm not a Bond villain. I'm a guy with a day job and a Honda Civic. Then she did the most foul thing. She reached out to my ex, Sam. We hadn't spoken in like 2 years. Things ended okay, but still weird. Out of nowhere, I get a text from her. Hey, Jenny's been messaging me, saying you're harassing her. Just checking in. I didn't want to believe it. And that's when my soul left my body for a second. Because how the hell does someone flip this whole situation, and somehow I'm the predator, I'm the one dodging slander and lies and being erased by my own family, and now I'm a harasser too? I called Jenny. Didn't even plan to just pure fury in my fingertips. She picked up and immediately started crying. You're destroying everything, she sobbed. You made this a war. And I said, no, Jenny. You made this a war the second you lied about me being the father of your baby. You're not a victim here. She hung up. That was the last time we ever spoke directly. By this point, my parents are in weird limbo mode. They don't know how to act. My mom's still sending me just checking in texts. No apology. No owning up to the 6 months of mental torture she supported. Just let's have dinner soon, like she didn't try to publicly shame me into being a fake father. And my dad. He straight up offered to buy me a new car. Yeah, after months of you're a disgrace, he slid into my inbox with, you deserve better. Let's get you something safer and nicer. I'll help with down payment. What? Not we were wrong. Not we're sorry we believed her without question. Not we failed you. Just hush money on 4 wheels. I didn't respond. I didn't need a new car. I needed peace. But peace that wasn't in the cards.
A couple weeks later, I get a call from an old buddy from high school, Mike. We weren't super close, so the fact that he reached out was weird.
Turns out, my parents had reached out to him. They were on some kind of emotional recon mission, telling people they were worried about me, that I had cut off contact, that I was acting erratic. Mike asked me straight up,
"Is everything okay, man? Your folks made it sound like you were spiraling or something."
Nah, bro, I'm not spiraling. I'm surviving.
They were trying to spin this into me being unstable, me being the issue. I told Mike the truth, sent him the paternity docs, showed him a timeline of everything. He believed me, thank God. But that's when I realized this wasn't over. It was just morphing into something worse. Over the next week, I got messages from random relatives I hadn't seen since high school graduation. Stuff like,
"Your mom says you're in a dark place. Maybe talk to her. Your dad is really hurting. He loves you. You should come home. Can't we all just move past this?"
Move past what? Them erasing me. Them believing a lie over their own son. Them helping a woman ruin my name for months. Nah. But I kept calm. I didn't post rants. I didn't go nuclear. I just blocked numbers, deleted threads, silenced the noise. Until the final straw. One Monday morning, I'm at work. My boss calls me into his office.
He looks serious, concerned. "Is everything okay at home?" he asks. I pause. Yeah, why? Turns out my parents called my job.
Called my freaking job. Told HR they were worried I wasn't in a good place mentally. That I might need some time off. That family tension was affecting my behavior.
I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw my phone at a wall.
But I didn't.
I told my boss the truth. Laid out everything. The lie, the test, the smear campaign. He was stunned but cool about it. Said he understood. Still, the damage was done. The last ounce of trust I had left for my parents gone.
So I did the only thing I hadn't done yet. I went to a lawyer.
Filed for a restraining order. No contact, no calls, no visits, no third-party messages.
It wasn't about revenge anymore.
It was about survival. I couldn't keep letting them invade my life. Couldn't keep living like any moment might be the next ambush. The process was long, stressful, but I stuck with it. And eventually the order was granted. No contact, period. That was the first night in months that I slept straight through. Getting that restraining order felt like finally hitting the emergency brake on a train that had been speeding off the rails for a year. It was a weird kind of relief, cold, heavy, but quiet. Like walking out of a house that's still on fire but finally shutting the door behind you. For the first time in months, I didn't wake up with a pit in my stomach. No phone buzzing with "please call me" texts. No "we need to talk" voicemails. Just silence. I thought maybe that would be it. But nope, of course not. Because apparently when toxic people lose control of your life, they don't let go. They rage. And that's exactly what happened next. About 2 weeks after the restraining order was granted, I came home from work to find my car keyed. Not just a little scratch either. One long, deep slash down the passenger side, and the word "liar" carved into the driver's door in all caps. It felt like getting punched in the gut. Like they wanted to leave a scar where I couldn't ignore it. Whoever did it wasn't subtle, and I didn't need Sherlock Holmes to guess who it was. I hadn't told more than 4 people about the restraining order. 3 of them were friends I trusted completely. The 4th was the lawyer. That left one very obvious suspect, my parents. And yeah, no, I didn't have proof. There were no cameras yet. That changed real fast, and no one saw anything. But come on, it's not hard to connect the dots. I filed a police report. Not that I expected them to do anything, it was more about paper trails at that point. Next day, I started parking at my buddy Jamie's place. Put up cameras, even changed the locks on my apartment just in case. That wasn't paranoia, that was math. They'd already tried to spin me as mentally unstable, already called. My boss already reached out to people behind my back. The only logical next step, start damaging my stuff. A few days later, I get a Gmail notification. Someone had tried to reset my email password. Then my Instagram, then Venmo. I locked everything down. 2-factor, new passwords, every account, every device. I don't know if it was them. Could have been Jenny. Could have been someone she told. Or maybe some bitter third cousin who thought I was being ungrateful. But that's when I stopped giving people the benefit of the doubt. I started treating this whole situation like what it actually was, a targeted campaign to break me down and pull me back into the mess. They weren't trying to fix anything. They were trying to win. Control, narrative, reputation. Whatever they thought they had before I finally said no, they wanted it back. Then came the worst part. One night, I'm sitting on the couch watching YouTube, trying to pretend for 5 seconds that my life wasn't a walking reality show. And I get this long-ass email from my mom. Subject line, from a mother who still loves you. And I shouldn't have opened it. I knew better. But I did. She poured out this monologue about family bonds and God's plan and how she couldn't understand how I could turn on them like this. She said the restraining order broke her heart. She said I was being manipulated by bitterness. She said I was punishing them for believing someone who was scared and confused. And the kicker, she ended it with, "No matter what happens, I'll always be your mother. I just hope one day you'll remember that." I stared at the screen for a long time. Felt like I was choking, even though I wasn't crying. You know that weird empty ache in your chest when someone says something that's supposed to be loving, but really it's just one big guilt trip wrapped in a bow? Yeah, that. That email wasn't an apology. It was a manipulation, a power play, a way to paint me as the villain for choosing myself. I didn't respond. I archived it and blocked her email. That weekend, my buddy Jamie hosted a get-together. Just a backyard hangout. Burgers, beers, nothing dramatic. And for once, I let myself relax, laughed, ate, actually felt like a human again. Until someone brought up the reunion. I paused. What reunion? Apparently, my parents had started planning a huge family get-together. Big tent, catered food, backyard games, the whole thing. And they'd told everyone I'd be there. I wasn't invited. I didn't even know it existed until that moment. Melissa, my cousin, bless her soul, pulled me aside and said, "They said it'd be a chance for healing, for you to finally come around." I felt the blood drain from my face. I wasn't invited to reconnect, I was being set up. They were planning a public spectacle. A reconciliation circus. Bring in the whole extended family, guilt me into showing up, make me the bad guy if I didn't. He's being dramatic. He's cutting off his whole bloodline. He didn't even show up for his baby cousin's birthday. It was a trap. They weren't trying to fix anything privately. They wanted to perform healing for likes and whispers and social media claps. I told Melissa I wasn't coming. She understood, kind of. But I could see in her eyes that part of her still wanted me to just let it go. Let go of what, though? 6 months of being disowned. False paternity. Character assassination. Gaslighting. Being erased by my own parents. I sat on that for a few days. Then I wrote them a final email. I didn't curse, didn't yell. I was cold, direct. I told them I knew about the reunion. That I wasn't coming, that I wasn't interested in being part of any stage play about healing when they hadn't done a single thing to make amends. I told them boundaries weren't betrayal. That if they ever wanted to rebuild anything, it would have to start with accountability, not parties. I hit send. Then I blocked both their addresses. Didn't even wait to see if they responded. A few days later, voicemail from my dad. Long, winding, sad guitar music in the background type of energy. You've torn this family apart. You've broken your mother's spirit. Your grandparents would be so disappointed in you. He ended it with, "We were trying to build a bridge and you set it on fire." I laughed. Like actually out loud. Because they lit the match the day they believed a lie over their own son. They dropped me. They chose delusion. They made that bed. I just stopped pretending it was still mine to lie in. The reunion came and went. I saw pictures on Facebook. Tablecloths, bounce house, all smiles. Like they hadn't tried to destroy me for a year. Like they hadn't sent lawyers after me and labeled me mentally unstable and tried to get me fired. A week later, Melissa texted me again. Some people asked why you didn't show. I told them the truth. I stared at that text for a while, then typed, "Thank you." A few weeks after the family reunion photos dropped, things were quiet. Too quiet. No more texts, no calls, no random relatives sliding into my DMs with "give your parents another chance" guilt bombs. Part of me thought maybe they're finally done. They weren't. Because this story, it wasn't finished dragging me yet. One morning I get home from the gym, check my mail, and boom, envelope from a law office. Not junk mail, not ads. An actual letter from an actual attorney. My stomach dropped. I hadn't even opened it yet, and I already knew it was going to be some next level bullshit. And I was right. My parents were suing me. Yeah, let that sink in. They were suing me, their son, for emotional distress. I had to read the damn thing 3 times to make sure it wasn't some prank or mistake. But nope, it was real, signed, filed, scheduled. They claimed I had caused them severe psychological damage by cutting off communication, falsely accusing them of misconduct, and ruining their standing in the community. And the cherry on top, they were demanding monetary compensation for pain and suffering. Are you kidding me? I just stood there in my kitchen with the letter in my hands laughing. Like full-on unhinged giggle into disbelief kind of laugh. Because after everything, after the lies, the disowning, the harassment, the restraining order, they still found a way to spin themselves as the victims. Victims of my boundaries. I called my lawyer immediately. Her exact words. What the hell is wrong with these people? She'd been with me through the restraining order and the car vandalism. She wasn't new to the mess. But this was new for her too. We went over the documents. Most of their claims were laughably weak. But you can't just ignore a lawsuit because it's dumb. You still have to show up. Still have to fight it. So now, instead of healing or moving on, I was prepping for court again. Compiling every email, every message, every voicemail. Screenshots. Bank statements. Photos of the car. Security footage. Texts from relatives. The works. I built a whole folder called Just in Case They Lie Again. And let me tell you, I was ready. Word got out, as it always does. Aunts, uncles, cousins. I started getting messages like, "Why are you doing this to your mom and dad? This could have been private. You're making them look bad." Oh, I'm sorry, was I supposed to just let them publicly sue me and stay quiet? Let them destroy my name while I hand them a check for their trouble? Nope. The moment they turned this into a legal fight, all bets were off. I didn't ask for war, but if it's war they want, I brought receipts. The court date landed on a Tuesday. Small claims, no big dramatic trial, but I showed up prepped like I was filming Suits. I walked in with a folder 2 inches thick and a face that said, "Try me." My parents were already there, sitting on the opposite side of the room looking like 2 sad puppies that got kicked out of church. Their lawyer was some overly perky woman in a beige pantsuit who tried to open with this long speech about the devastating heartbreak of losing a child emotionally. I just sat there flipping through pages waiting for my turn. When my lawyer stood up, she didn't raise her voice, didn't perform. She just calmly, clearly laid out everything. The paternity test, the refusal to retract the lie, the Facebook posts, the harassment of my workplace, the restraining order, the voicemail threatening to ruin my life if I didn't come home. She had timestamps, screenshots, even Melissa's texts. At one point, the judge actually stopped her and said, "That's sufficient, thank you." Then he looked at my parents and asked a simple question. "What evidence do you have of emotional harm caused directly by your son?" And they just stared. My mom mumbled something about coldness and how painful it is to be ignored. The judge raised an eyebrow and said, "You disowned him, correct?" My dad, we were upset. "Judge, that's not what I asked." I'll be honest, watching them squirm, it didn't feel good. It felt sad, pathetic. But I wasn't here for revenge. I was here for closure. Verdict came quick. Case dismissed. They were ordered to pay my legal fees. No damages, no sympathy, just paperwork. When the judge stood up, I did too. And for the first time in almost a year, I felt taller. Like I finally took up space again. I didn't even look at them when I walked out. Not because I was mad. Because they didn't matter anymore. But of course, they couldn't leave it alone. A week later, I got a certified letter. A handwritten apology, if you can call it that. It was 4 pages long, full of spiritual quotes and half apologies like, "We're sorry for how things played out. We didn't intend to hurt you. You've always been loved even when it didn't feel like it. We want to heal together." I read the whole thing, twice. Then I threw it in a drawer and never opened it again. Because here's the thing, apologies don't matter when they're just a step toward getting back control. I didn't need their guilt. I needed peace. So I started rebuilding. Blocked every number that didn't serve me. Unfollowed the noise. Deleted the old photos, archived the old messages. I stopped checking Jenny's socials. I didn't care anymore what fantasy she was pushing. She didn't get to live in my head rent-free anymore. She wasn't my story. She was a footnote in a chapter I survived. That summer, I finally took that trip I'd been planning before everything exploded. Just me, the coast, and silence. Rented a tiny house near the ocean. No Wi-Fi, no drama, no updates. Just mornings with coffee and fog. Long walks, breathing, reclaiming. Every so often I'd get this tight feeling in my chest, like a memory was trying to claw its way out, and I'd let it pass. Not push it down, not dwell. Just breathe through it. Because healing isn't loud. It doesn't post online. It doesn't need applause. Sometimes it's just choosing not to answer a call that would ruin your day. Sometimes it's saying no and meaning it. Sometimes it's just sitting alone and finally not feeling lonely. You ever think you've closed a chapter only for the universe to slap the book back open and go, not yet? That's what happened with Jenny. I hadn't seen her, heard from her, or even thought about her in months. After the court stuff, after the emails, after the ghosting and blocking, I'd completely cut her out of my brain. But life's funny like that. It was a Thursday afternoon, just a regular-ass day. I'd stopped by this coffee shop a few neighborhoods over, one I used to hit during the pandemic because no one ever went there and the barista didn't spell my name Tyler. I'm halfway through my latte on my laptop, noise-canceling headphones in, when I look up and she's just there. Jenny. Same face, same long brown hair, but thinner, tired, not glam or smug or manipulative. Just worn down. Our eyes locked and my stomach dropped like I'd missed a step walking downstairs. I pulled my headphones off slow, like maybe she'd disappear if I moved carefully enough. She didn't. She walked straight up and said, "Hey." No drama, no tears, no "you ruined my life," just that one word. "Hey." I said nothing. Not out of anger, I literally didn't know what to say. I hadn't prepared for this. She asked if she could sit. Against all logic, I said yes. So we sat there, in silence, for like a full minute. Her fiddling with her sleeve, me trying not to bolt. Then she just started talking. "I'm not here to fight," she said. "Good," I replied. "I know what I did," she continued. "I know what I cost you." I raised an eyebrow. "Do you?" She nodded. And then get this, she apologized. Not a fake half apology, not a manipulation, not a spin. A real one. She said, "I lied. About the baby, about you. All of it. I lied because I was scared. And because I knew once the baby came, I'd be alone. And I didn't know how to do that." I just stared at her, processing. And then she dropped the bomb. "The baby isn't mine anymore either." My brain stalled. "What?" She looked down. "He's with a foster family now. I signed over rights 3 months ago." I blinked. "You gave him up." Jenny nodded. "I couldn't do it. I thought I could fake it until I became the person I pretended to be, but it doesn't work like that." It felt like the whole coffee shop faded out around us. I had spent months being destroyed by this woman. Months of rumors, character assassination therapy sessions, courtroom drama, and total emotional collapse. And now, here she was across from me sipping lukewarm tea, confessing everything, like we were on some reality show reunion episode. I didn't know how to feel. There was no rush of closure, no "I told you so," no satisfaction. Just this quiet, exhausted ache in my chest. I asked her, "Why me? Why pin it on me?" She bit her lip. "Because you were safe. You'd never hurt me." And part of me thought, maybe you'd show up, not as the dad, but just as someone. I felt the anger flare back up, that heat in my neck, the WTF of it all. "You turned my entire life inside out because you wanted someone to show up." "I know. You ruined me, Jenny." She nodded. "I know. I don't expect forgiveness." "Good," I snapped, "because you're not getting it." We sat there, breathing. I could tell she wanted me to soften, to say something human, to give her even one crack in the armor. But I didn't. I wasn't cold. I wasn't cruel. I was just done. Before she left, she looked me in the eye and said, "I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know the truth. You deserved that." And maybe I did. But it didn't fix anything. Didn't undo what happened. Didn't erase the damage. Didn't change the fact that my parents chose her lie over my truth without blinking. Still, I appreciated hearing it. Because at least now the story was complete. And she finally owned it. I walked out of that cafe feeling strange. Not lighter, not heavier, just still. That night I sat in bed for hours staring at the ceiling. Thinking about how fragile people are. How hurt people. And how none of that justifies what she did. But also, How broken she really must have been to believe any of it would work. The next day, I wrote an email. Not to her, to myself. Sounds stupid, I know, but I needed to get it out. All of it. I wrote down everything I would have said if I'd had more time, more peace, more bandwidth in that coffee shop. Stuff like, you shattered my trust. But I see you now, not the story, not the image. Just you. And I still don't forgive you. But I hope you become someone your kid would have been proud of. And I hope someday the part of you that started all this gets real help. I hit send. To myself. And yeah, that helped. More than I thought it would. About a week later, I ran into Dave. Yeah, that Dave. Hadn't seen or heard from him since everything went nuclear. We were both grabbing lunch at the same spot waiting in line, and bam, there he was. He looked rough. Bags under his eyes, stubble that was more sad than rugged, just older. We locked eyes, and it was awkward as hell. He nodded. I nodded. He walked over. I was ready for anything. A fight, a lecture, more guilt. But instead, he just said, she told me everything. I raised an eyebrow. She said you weren't the dad, that she made it up. I said nothing. Dave exhaled. I should have believed you. I'm sorry. Now that hit. Harder than Jenny's confession, harder than the lawsuit. Because Dave, he was my boy. He was family before all this. Losing him had hurt in a way I couldn't even describe. I shrugged. Yeah, you should have. He nodded, staring at his shoes. Then, I wasn't ready to hear the truth back then. But I am now. I didn't say it's okay, because it wasn't. But I also didn't walk away. We sat down, ate our sandwiches, talked about literally everything else. TV, work, the weather, all surface stuff. But it was a start. And maybe that's all healing really is, just starts. That weekend, I got a notification from Facebook. Jenny had deactivated her account. Deleted, gone. Like she erased herself from the entire grid. I don't know where she is now. And honestly, I don't need to. I've got nothing left to say to her. Nothing left to prove. And nothing to reclaim. 'Cause I already did that. By surviving.